Coach Lorianne, America's #1 Take Action Success Coach and Strategist, educating, inspiring, and igniting people to take action with jet propulsion. Did I mention empowering people? Yes, we do that too. Today, I'm so excited because we have Mae Caime on, and we are going to talk all about the value of health, the importance of it. There's some great events coming up in January we're going to talk about, so stay tuned. Of course, on Healthy Lifestyle, we are here to educate you, empower your minds, inspire action, and ignite success. So please stay tuned with us. We are going to give you verbal caffeine with our beautiful guest, Mae Caime. And I want to tell you a little bit about Mae, just in case you didn't know the last time she was on. So Mae is a multi-talented leader with a passion for inspiring and empowering others. That is so true. With decades of experience as a visionary CEO, an RN health expert, a certified life coach, Mae is known for exceptional skills in creating teamwork, organizing events. Oh my gosh, if you ever need an event organized, you have to call Mae. Public speaking, and creating memorable experiences that really leave lasting, soulful impact. Her journey is one of pivoting and opportunity, and Mae's experiences range from owning successful businesses such as day spas and children's boutiques, and a CEO building premier medical entities, and a sought-after health and safety supervisor for NBC, Netflix, Disney, and Focus Features. Her list goes on and on. Her charitable work includes being the vice president of Blue Star Moms, the Long Island chapter, and Global Medical Missions. She is a former Ms. New York Senior America 2023, and now her newest venture is founder and CEO of Amaezing Midlife and Beyond, to inspire and support women, discredit ageism, and to live with energy, action, and purpose. Welcome to the show, Mae. I'm so happy to have you on again.
Oh, thank you so much, Lorianne, for inviting me again. I'm thrilled to be here.
I'm so excited. So excited for so many things. First of all, that we're in the holiday season. Second of all, that you have this amazing event coming up, pun intended, amazing events coming up in January. I want to talk more about that, but I think a lot on people's mind as we rush around during the season is our health today. And there's been a lot in the news about the medical groups and the medical insurance, and a lot about our food that we're eating and things like that. And I'd really, really like to dive in a little deep about our health today and where we are and the value of our health today.
Well, first, I just want to say again, thank you so much for letting me share some of my insights and inspiration, because you totally are an inspiration to me with how you empower women. So I'm very grateful for that. But I think today more so, and maybe it's come to light, unfortunately, due to the tragedy that's just happened with the CEO. I think also with what we're looking at, the new political regime of Kennedy coming in and talking about, and Julia Michaels about the, what's in our food versus the European countries and stuff. In one respect, I think it's the timing, and it's an awakening for people to start to take control back of their health. With obesity so high in this country, which just contributes to so many other things, and the stress level that we also do. We don't really take time in evaluating that. We kind of avoid listening to our own heads, I'm going to say, and our own gut when we go to a physician and it doesn't resonate with us, especially women in the perimenopause and menopause stage, that they just say, take some medication. Well, let me just treat your anxiety, depression, instead of getting to the root cause of hormonal imbalance. So there's so many different areas. And I think because of my expertise a little bit as an RN and nutrition certification, I have a better understanding, and I dive deep into it. So
yeah, we talk a lot about stress, but a lot of the stress is what we take in, not only our food, but what we're taking in, listening to, and watching. And so when you're watching all these things and they're not causing you to ask questions, I know when I was growing up, my mom, if the doctor said, take this red thing, she would take the red thing because the doctor said so. And I know that we used to grow up, we grew up in an environment like that. I don't do that anymore. I used to do that. I used to just use the products my mom used because my mom used them. Now I really educate myself on the products that I put on and in my body. I educate myself and really are very selective of what I listen to, what I watch. I don't watch TV. I don't listen to the news 24/7. I think all those things add to our stress level, which take away from our ability to really listen to ourselves here in our chests. That's where our intuition is. What do you think about that? How much do you think really is contributing to those stresses that you spoke to?
I do. I believe too much TV, too much exposure to also one, and I don't mean one channel in TV, but one source of information.
Great.
So you have to have a variety of sources, whether it be an educational channel, we could talk about even whatever the channels are, right? CNN and Fox or whatever. But if you don't gather information from multi sources, you're limiting your thought process. It's similar going to a doctor who tells you, take this red stuff and you take it without saying, let me check that out. I mean, if I was as a patient, because I've been on that side, and someone told me, oh, you have this and you need to get this surgery and this has to happen, I would always get a second opinion. There's always good to have multitude of opinions. The other side to it is we could overindulge in researching and diagnosing ourselves because we have such exposure and access to the internet. So we think we have one thing wrong, and we've labeled ourselves with some disease or some,
I call
hormone
it Dr.
or something
Google.
like that. So it's like that the balance. I think the you have to judge how you feel. If you're not feeling well and energized and feeling like when you wake up in the morning that you've got your head on, you're not fog-headed, you've got a ball of energy and you can go 9 hours feeling really good. That's your, I guess, your media, or like to tell you you're doing okay. If you're
Yes.
waking up the other ways, like right, tired, you can't lose weight, you're sluggish around, you just feel kind of blah. Something's going on. And
Yes.
and some of it is emotional and stress levels of all the pressures we put on ourselves between careers, especially as women. We know that, right? Careers, balancing it all. The generation of there's that mixed generation taking care of children and the elderly. So there's a lot of those pressures that we don't take time to think about our health. So I think there's like that aspect as well as the physical aspect.
There's a litmus test that you can actually take. And this is one where I'm not sure if I'm, just overthinking things, which generally I do. And I try not to. So that's a learning curve for me, right? But what I do is I look at an activity that makes me happy, that time disappears on me, that everything, and I look forward to it, that everything, while I'm doing it, I'm a happy girl. That signals a few things. It signals that the other things that are in your life aren't working for you. There's a disconnect, there's a discourse, and that gives you an opportunity. And I say opportunity because we all don't have the availability to take action on this opportunity, but it gives you an opportunity to be aware that maybe you're in a job that just doesn't resonate with you, and maybe you should be thinking about changing jobs. Or when a doctor tells you something and you said it just doesn't feel right, ask questions. Is it okay to ask your doctor? I ask everybody questions. So I'm just curious, the curious LA is here. But is it okay to ask your doctor's question? Because I know my mom didn't want to question him because he was the expert. But, what's your feeling on that?
I think 100%. And what happens, unfortunately, and my only advice to people is before you go to the doctor is make a list of your questions. Because what happens is people get in there, they hear what they say, and then they go, I've got to tell the doctor this, and I didn't ask any questions,
Oh, yeah.
especially. So it's always good to have a little list of questions with you to get them answered. And again, if you're with the provider with the ideas that they're rushed or they're not giving you the time, then you need to find another provider. And it's a difficult challenge. I will tell you, just generally, not always, but a lot of times nurse practitioners and PAs are able to spend a little bit more time with you.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunately how the healthcare structure is, but they're just as competent. And when they don't know, they can punt to their upper levels or their expertise. But I highly recommend them as well. They just seem to be able to spend more time. And sometimes that's what we just need, time,
Yeah.
to explain what we need.
Agreed. And sometimes through the questions from the doctor or the PA, you are reminded, oh, I have to do this. Invariably, I will drive away and go, oh, I should have asked that question because I didn't write it down. The other thing is you mentioned, I want to circle back to it. You mentioned that, be careful not to oversource. Find, the rule of thumb, as I learned it when I got certified as an herbalist and an aromatherapist, the rule of thumb is 3. Find 3 sources, 3 different sources. So if you use the Google, then find another source, then maybe speak to a doctor, find 3 different sources and compare the answers. If they're all on or about the same, you're probably on the right track. If you get different answers, you need a little bit more research. So that's an indicator that let me dive a little bit deeper into it. Let me reach out. Also,
I agree with you, Lori, and that's great advice. 100% great advice. 3, that's perfect. I love that advice.
rule of 3
Yeah.
is just a beautiful way. And then tell people what you're going through, because invariably they know someone who knows somebody who knows somebody. That may be another resource. So like my go-to sometimes is you. I will call you and go, Mae, what do you think? And you will provide a lot of different resources that you think would be best actions for me to take in order for me to educate myself, to make a decision for myself. At the end of the day, what are your thoughts on this? I know my body the best. So I know when I'm feeling good and when I'm not feeling good. And sometimes I'll take a medication and it makes me feel worse. I will stop taking that medication, my choice to take it or not take it, and then have another conversation with the doctor. What are your thoughts about, people really understanding your body and communicating that to your medical providers?
I totally agree with you. I think people sometimes take medications and they have a lot of side effects from them. It's mostly like blood pressures now and with the Ozempic and all of those drugs. And everybody's just like targeted on what they think the results are. So they're afraid to say, or they're just accepting all the side effects. That doesn't mean you have to have them on all these medications. And everybody's body is different and everybody's body reacts differently. What I may be able to take versus somebody else is very different. It's the same thing with diet, as you know, right? Some people can eat steak all the time. Other people, my gosh, they would be like dying. They'd be doubled up and they could never handle that. So I think you have to go on an individual basis. And I know just based on who you are and how healthy and all of that, but prevention is really the key instead of
100%.
the treatment. And I think that's what I'm hoping that I see coming maybe in with this healthcare administration. There's going to be some bumps, but more prevention, about the success and changing even what they want to do in schools for young people versus the treatment, because by the time you get into treatment, you're like a step. It takes longer to recover, put it that way, but it's still able to recover. You're still able to recover.
Agreed.
But
100%. You said something about the schools. I find it ironic and infuriating, and this is just my opinion. The schools won't allow homemade items. They allow only packaged items. The packaged items have more preservatives, chemicals, and yucky stuff in it, as I refer to it. That for our children than if somebody made a homemade item. And I know it goes back to peanut allergies and stuff like that. If we flash back to before the 70s, they didn't have the inordinate amount of peanut allergies. We didn't have all these people on the PDD scale. We didn't have all of these vaccines. It's up to 30. I didn't know this. It's up to 30 vaccines before the child leaves school to go on to a secondary education. And that's crazy.
yeah,
That's insane
yeah.
to me. And I agree with you 100%, and we speak about it on the show, is that preventative may seem more costly on the front end, but look at the costs on the back end. It is unbelievably less expensive to take good care of yourself so that you look like Mae on the front end, as opposed to getting sick and having to be taken care of on the back end, which is just far harder, and there are so many ramifications. To your point again, the overweight causes stress on all of our organs, and that's something that we shouldn't be doing. And if you look over in Europe, and in September, I came back from a trip in Italy, and I got to tell you, I didn't see a lot of overweight people, if any, and the ones that I did were people from the US. So they have so many ingredients that they're not allowed to utilize over there because they are toxic. They're not good for you. They're not good for your body. And here's something I learned from another associate of mine is that, what happens when a chemical comes into our body and the body doesn't know what to do with it, it encapsulates it in this like tissue, which is called fat tissues. And then it stores it in places like our butts and our thighs and our tummies, so, and that refers to cellulite as well. So it doesn't do with it. So you're ingesting things that your body doesn't even know what to do with it. So it says, okay, isolate, and then, it carries it away. What are your thoughts relative to what actions people can take to really empower themselves to get that, take care of themselves on the front end, not just exercise. It's more than exercise.
It's more than exercise. It's totally more than exercise. I mean, the three things that I always say, first of all, if people hydrated themselves more and drank more water and more, every day, half their body weight in water, one, it would decrease their appetite. Well, they would have everything flushing out. They would have a better skin. They would have a better thing. And that is not hard to do. We say it's not hard to do, but it's hard to do. And so there's tricks to it. There's tricks to it. Like for me, I have a bottle that's measured with little beads on it. And I click my little beads because I'm like, oh, and then I look. And sometimes, yes, I go guzzle, 14 ounces all at once. Like, oh my God, I'm way behind. And then, of course, they stop earlier. But that is one of the biggest steps to it. And the other is avoiding the sugar. And we say, how do we do that? Sugar is just a detriment. It helps, it's from emotional side effects to all of the inflammatory side effects. And if we could substitute every time you were having some kind of sugar into a vegetable or even a fruit, a better sugar, a fruit, eventually your body will not crave those sugars. But you don't have to do cold turkey. You can decrease. But those are the two things that I say the most. And then the last is, I don't care, you can be on every kind of diet, is portion control. We see that all the time. People, as we know, remember the whole, again, I don't think I've seen McDonald's in 15 years, but maybe like, that's double sizing or whatever that was, double size, you got two. I couldn't do that if I wanted to. And I think that helps too. And people, again, in our stressful, busy lives, we eat in our cars, we eat on the run, and we're not even thinking about what we're eating. We're just eating because it's like, okay, I'm a little hungry. And we eat too fast that we don't let our body realize like, oh, I was full 5 minutes ago, but I just kept eating because we're in that rush mode, especially New Yorkers. If you have a wide variety, New Yorkers, we're in that place. And I think to just slow down a little bit and that's in everything in our lives, and it's not always easy, but I think in the eating part, those would be my two things. Is hydration is number one.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think it's important relative to not easy is these are habits. Eating in our car, driving through drive-throughs, things like those are habits. So you utilize the law of replacement we've spoken about here. Law of replacement, when we start new habits and add them on, it's more difficult and you're less likely to succeed. If you replace another habit, not so good habit, with a better habit, and make a different choice during that habit time, you will find that one step at a time, one baby step at a time, you will easily change that over. It won't be as painful. But it's really about a law of replacement, which kind of leads me into why we all can use support or a coach. I think it's real important to have somebody in your life that's there reminding you of the law of replacement, reminding you of slowing down, reminding you that we don't have to be going 27 miles an hour or 127 miles an hour at a time, that we can actually get the same, if not more accomplished, if we actually slow down. That
is true.
That false sense of, oh, if we go fast, we're getting more done is just that. It's a false sense.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed that one, Lori, and you nailed it. That's where your coaching comes in so well. I think you're right. We think as women, especially, because we do that. Men don't really, what we call it, multitasking or no, we're just handling too many projects in one. And we think we're doing them well, but we're kind of doing them like, oh, did I remember that? Because we were so busy with our head somewhere else. I am definitely one of those people that has to go, okay, slow down, write it down, look at the checklist, like let's what project we're on, because sometimes I'm like, I'm all over. I'm like, okay, I'm getting it accomplished, but I'm thinking it's not the way to be doing it, So I
You're
think
not
that's
present while you're accomplishing it. Sometimes do you find that you're not present? Because I find that with me. I'm not present while I'm accomplishing it because I'm thinking the three other things that I have to get to. And now I don't do that. I've really said, no, I will get to that next. Let me just focus on this one piece of paper. Let me focus on this one task. When I'm done, I'll look at the next one. It's going to wait for me, just like the laundry did when I had small
Mhm.
children. It waited,
Yes.
picking up after them. It waited for me. Nobody came in and Magic Fairy didn't come in and fix everything up. The same
And
with
you inspired me when we were having a conversation a couple of months ago, and you said that, and we were talking about lists and not so much lists like the big to do, but to stay in the one area. And even with this event coming up, I've said, okay, let me focus in on the vendors in the boutique. Okay, now let me focus in on the speakers. Because when I'm jumping, then I'm like, did I do that? And then I'm back checking, which I realized, something, and I'm like, oh, take a break for a minute, get off the machine, come back and stay on one task. And I think it can change everything. Like I said, a lot of us, who are the type A energetic type people, we just always need reminders. And then, like I said, as you mentioned, with having a coach or that person, that is essential and can really help you get to the goal of, especially what you do when you're doing success in whether personal or professional.
Yeah, and staying on focus,
Yeah.
staying really on task. It's real important. You're listening to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. We're here with Mae Caime. We're going to come back and talk about that event that you have referenced and I've referenced and tease you all with. But if you want more information, you can go to Amaezing Midlife and Beyond.com, and the information for the event is up there, as well as all information about Mae. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I am Coach Lorianne. I'm so glad that you're here with us today. Hey, if you'd like to be a guest or lift up your business, product, or not-for-profit, or if you have a comment or question, please email us at healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. We love to hear from you, and I'd love to tell you more about my 12-month, one-a-month workshop series that's coming up, but we'll talk about that another time. Welcome back to the show, Mae. Mae, I'm so glad that you're here. I want to jump right in to you have this event coming up, but before we reveal all that information, I just have this question that kind of is laying over from the last segment, which is, why does self-esteem affect your confidence to step outside of the box?
Yeah, I'll tell you what my insight and my feeling is, and I see this a lot with women. We're confident in something when it comes to skill sets that we have in a business that we do, right? If we're a CEO, and I have been a former CEO, and you're an executive leader, you know what you have to do in that boardroom. You know your skills, you know your worksheets, you know your balance sheets, you know your team and all of that. But there's something that's unsatisfying sometimes in that realm, right? And you're not happy, but you're doing the job. The paycheck is great and all of that, and you're not happy. But what happens is when you go every day, you identify that that's who you are in that role. You kind of forget a little bit who you are in the other roles, and you're not sure that you're capable outside of that structure. And your self-esteem on how you feel about yourself, deep down how you feel about yourself, when it is low, does not give you really the confidence, even though you're a confident CEO, to go out and step outside of that which you already know to do something different. Because, and I will just say this, in an aging process, sometimes we get comfortable and we don't explore and we don't jump out. And if you are not feeling really good about yourself, and it's okay to fail, that you're all right, you're comfortable failing, right? You're comfortable going, oh, it wasn't great. That says a lot about your self-esteem, because if you fail, it doesn't affect who you are as a person.
Yeah.
When you are successful, it's easy to have great self-esteem, right? That's easy. Like, oh, I feel good about myself. I do this, this, and this. But the deep downside is that, and also self-esteem comes also from how we view ourselves in the mirror. Do we beat ourselves up in the mirror? Do we look like we're old? We don't like our hair, we don't like our weight, or we could be better.
Oh, bad talk, bad self-talk is terrible. It's so toxic.
Right.
You gotta
And then,
stop with the
or
bad self-talk. That's the
yeah,
first, I think that's the first step is starting to recognize that you're talking badly to yourself and ask yourself this question. Would I ever say this to a little child, to someone else, or to your higher power? If the answer is no, which 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10 is no, I wouldn't, then don't say it to yourself. That's not right. That's not good.
yeah. And I think women are really self-critical. They're self-critical, they're self-damaging. They're more critical of themselves than they are. They don't realize that, I think, in general, not all of themselves than of others. And then what happens is when you're that critical of yourself, you become critical of others
Agreed.
because you're not comfortable with who you are. So you pinpoint what you don't like in other women. And that goes into a whole nother conversation about, do empowered women really empower women? What is that really about? Or do we just use that terminology so freely and openly, but we're not really doing it
I
because
think empowered women do empower other women if they're truly empowered.
truly empowered.
But you
Then
have to be truly empowered, because that's when you hear people, when you know somebody's truly empowered, they don't use words like competition. Some people ask me, why do I bring coaches like you on my show? Because I'm a coach. I was like, well, Mae has a total different process and we work collaboratively, not separately. And there's no way, even if I wanted to serve everybody in the world, I don't have the bandwidth to do that. So empowering each other is great. And I learned from you, you learned from me. That collaboration is so good. So it is about empowering. When you find yourself being critical about somebody else, I would just ask you to ask yourself a question. Is this a mirror for me? Because when you see something that you don't like in someone else, it generally means it's something that's in you. You have to go back and say, hey, what is it about me that makes me think that way? Otherwise, you wouldn't feel that way. And that's, I watch you empowering all different kinds of coaches, all different people in all different industries, and just lifting them up and showing them a way. And I love talking to you because we have these conversations and you're like, I just saw so-and-so and I can't believe that I just want 5 minutes with them to help them fix. I can't help myself. I totally understand. And I just love that about you, that you just want to help them be the best version of them. And that is just so inspiring in and of itself, but you do it so naturally and we can't help ourselves. We're just like about that. So it's awesome. It's really, really
right. Yeah. So I think that the things that like you do, I empower other coaches or per se. I mean, I'm a coach and all that, but I don't personally go one-on-one coaching. But what I like to do is take women and connect them to people such as you, who works with them one-on-one and builds them up. And that's what the event is for and all. And I think, again, I go back to self-esteem. This is the most important thing that I think women need to work on. They need to build up feeling better about themselves and that they are, and people, there was that term, I'm enough, or I think, what was this, I'm
I
like,
matter enough. Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, I don't like that. I'm enough. I'm like, I'm more than enough. I'm like, really? That's what I want people to say. Not I'm enough. You're not just average. You have so much to contribute. And that's each woman, and that's what you
Every human,
exemplify. Right.
when
Every
you
person.
yeah, when you come down here, all your success codes are already here. All your success already pre-exists. We just have to tap into it. And sometimes we allow other people to skip us off that rock. And so, and I know I have in the past, that's why I know. I am very well aware that I've allowed, listen to the terminology, I have allowed people to skip me off my rock. And not really look inward, is to look outward to make them happy as opposed to being who I am. And we are perfect the way we are. We're perfectly imperfect. And even imperfect says I'm perfect in it. Think about that word. Even imperfect says I'm perfect. So, there's reasons for everything here. And
I totally agree.
It's important to know that, just starting with your self-esteem and your confidence, there isn't anything you can't do if you want to.
I totally agree. And I think one thing that if people did this a little, like people say, well, how do you get that? How do you build self-esteem, right? How do you do that? You don't just wake up and go, oh, I'm good today because I heard something. I mean, it takes time, just like you said about the earlier, the habits and substituting one for the other. If you got up every morning and you just looked in the mirror and said something as simple as, you look good today, or, you know, I love me, or any simplistic thing. And you did it every day. After a while, you'd start to like maybe chuckle about it and go, okay. It sounds crazy, but it's those positive affirmations,
It
right?
doesn't sound crazy because what are beliefs? We believe about ourselves, right? We don't have that belief in ourselves. Beliefs are thoughts we think over and over again. So if you do something like that, or high five yourself every morning in the mirror, as simple as that, after a while, you'll start believing it. You'll start
Mhm.
believing more, right? You know, they have these mirror crayons, which by the way, I love them. So they're mirror crayons. Just write beautiful things to yourself on your mirror that you get to see every morning and say them out loud. To your point, affirmations are so good. You're so dead dog on point with that, May. On point
Yeah.
with that.
I
And
think that's one of the things, if we could, you know, and I know you do that with, you know, taking people along their coaching with their, you know, whether it be their business or their personal development, because the truth is the personal development is probably the most important so that they can be so successful in business, because you need that underneath, you know, it's like the bottom layer of moving up that thing, you know, the
yeah,
hierarchy or whatever, no
that's
matter
why I
what
don't
it
say
is.
I'm a business coach, because it's life and business.
Yeah.
We need to look at you as an individual first, and then we'll get into the business. And when you put those two things together, forget
Yeah.
it. You light on fire. That's how I have the responses that I do. I have somebody who 647% increase in their business in just over 12 months because they put all those things together. So yeah, those things are really possible and important. To that point, you know, I know goal setting is important. I have my annual goal setting workshop, actually the day before your events. But let's talk about your event, because your event is mind blowing, packed with all kinds of amazing yumminess. And then, of course, you make your events beautiful. So again, I say this with love. If you have an event and you're not sure how to put it together, or you want somebody to put it the right way, you need to invest and call on May, because May, you know how to put an event together, girl.
Thank you. My heart's full. Thank you, Lori. And I'm excited
So
because
classy, so beautiful.
you will be there. And if anyone wants to hear you for a good 45 minutes on how to take action and get us moving from all the information they're going to receive, you will be rocking that. And again, I think, as you said, you know, you being there with not only yourself and what you're going to bring, and summarizing some of the other coaches and techniques that are going to be taught, but it's those women that are there on this event that are empowered women who empowered women and are not threatened by other women, but feed off of each other to complement each other and work in collaboration of referrals, because everyone has their own specific niche that they may be working in that way, that will get results. And I think that's the reason I do these summits. And I will say I'm particular on who is on that stage, because there's such value when people get to hear, and the women will witness what can happen and the possibilities for them if they're taking action, which is what you're going to get us to do some.
Yes.
And they're
It's
fun.
called,
The
it's
events are fun, and there's great giveaways, and there's centerpieces, there's music. It's not the typical event, and it's a day for people to enjoy and really focus on
Yeah, let me
themselves.
paint a picture. First of all, the name of it is Nurture, Flourish, Action Women's Summit. And it is all of those things. And you've put together these great panels and these amazing speakers. I'm just so honored to be, you know, in that list. But these other speakers are just mind blowing. But it's not just sitting in a chair and just listening to talking heads, as I call them. It's interactive. You have fun things going on. You have really great food coming in. You have all these like workshops within all together, so that we're together. You give us time to interact with the other attendees, which I think is a really important element that so many of these events miss. Is you're there with all these women, give them time to chat. We're really good when we get an opportunity to chat with each other. The noise level is out of control, but it's always a lot of fun. And you're just fun. I mean, I love it when you MC things, and a great MC, because you just bring everything together, and you make sure people are having fun. And I love that about it. Your swag bags are usually the bomb.
Yes, I'm
I try
very
to
excited. The
emulate good
VIP
swag bags
swags are
now.
very good this year. Trust
Yeah.
me.
Your swag bags are always good, but I understand that they're outstanding this year. And
Yeah.
and again, being able to talk on a lot of different subjects, you're going to grow, you're going to nurture, you're going to be rejuvenated, and you're going to flourish. And that interconnectivity with this community that you have built over time. You really need to come and join May and myself on this event. So some details, November, what the heck? January 11th, correct?
Yeah, 111.
111, which I love that angel number. And it's at where? Where is it?
Hamlet Golf and Country in Comac, 8 in the morning till 5 at night. And there's a cash bar and there's a lunch and it's got vegan option, gluten options, so I've covered everybody for the drinks only because, I think it's just important to have all of that. There's a little boutique alley with some absolutely amazing vendors there
Oh my God, is the candle vendor going to be there?
She's going to be there.
Ah, so good.
Yes.
What other
Yes.
vendors are going to be there? Because
We have Poppy Lane with some fun jewelry, t-shirts, things. We have costume classics. She's got pocketbooks. We have Giella makeup, which is the makeup I've been wearing, and I love her. And she custom makes makeup for you. She was actually in Henry Bendel. She's an amazing woman.
oh my
And
gosh.
we're going to do a follow-up event with her actually in February, a makeup application event. So that's what the plans will be for the future.
I love that. Now, you do have one of the speakers who's coming in who I like to really get out there as well. She is just amazing at what she does. She really helps women with their hormonal situation. Dr. Roxanne Kafora.
Yes.
She blew me away at another event you and I were at. She blew me away with her knowledge that she fire hosed us with knowledge, but you could tell she just knew it off the top of her head. She just gave us all this information that was really great. Talk a little bit about what Dr. Roxanne is going to bring to us.
She's going to bring really about the value of hormones, not only just, our estrogen, progesterone, but our testosterone, a little bit on our cortisol and our stress hormones and how they affect the body. She'll talk a little bit about gut, but this time it's going to be a lot about those hormones that affect us and our brain fog and all of those things, but also our cortisol levels and how stress will just impact us. So she's got some really great stuff. We call it the hot and furious this year. She's a dynamo, and followed right behind her, which everyone will be blown away, is the most gorgeous, chief of cardiology at the Women's Cat Center, Evelina Grava, who's also the president of the American Heart Association, Long Island Division, Go Red. So she also is just, not only are they giving us great knowledge, but they're entertaining.
Yeah,
They're not people, and they just love giving back, and they have a good time themselves. So I think people can really relate. The women,
they're not dry speakers. You go in and somebody's a dry speaker. Those are speakers who you could go snoring. You start picking up your phone. So these speakers are not like that at all, and you will gain a lot of information. Oh my God, I love Kelly and Paulina. Oh my gosh. Paulina is a love bug. I love Paulina. She brings so much to the table as well. Tell a little bit about Kelly and Paulina.
Paulina is the CEO and owns a women's network called Women Entrepreneurs, Business of We. She will be doing the opening with the mastermind, asking questions on what we're going to look at for the day and kind of targeting in that there's a conversation within our own heads of things that we would like to think about ourselves or how we evaluate ourselves. And then Kelly is going to get us into some action. She is a certified hypnotist. She's also a trainer. She's got a multitude of degrees and levels of expertise. She will talk about a little bit of generational repetitiveness and things that we carry with us and things from the womb and how we let go of it and how we start to love ourselves. So very different approach. I've seen her. It's kind of fun. It's unique. And again, I think it's the most important thing is it's educational, it's informative, it's inspiration, it's also entertaining. I'm going to call it that, the event. We have someone who's going to give us a little bit of movement, who's a bodybuilder. These are all women who've got some amazing histories to them and some crazy stories in life. So it just shows you that it's all part of the journey that each of them have done. And we're talking from Roxanne to Evelina. And then we have Dr. Eva Lepenko and Dr. Ross and Dr. Cooper. They're going to talk about things that nobody talks about, which is vaginal health, breast health, those quick things. We're going to talk about sisterhood. We have some activities so that there is compensation. And the one other thing too that I do that's a little different is I don't make or offer, I should say, something. I don't offer women to have to make a choice. We make choices every single day of what we have to do. We got to choose this, or we got to choose to go to the store. We got to choose to go to this meeting. There's no choices. This is the stage. This is the day. So you don't have to feel you're missing out. You will not miss out on anything other than when you go to the ladies' room.
I love that.
So that's another thing that I do, and there's, like I said, there's music and there's themes, and I think it will be just a nice fun day. And I guess my approach is a little different that way. I just say to everyone, and this is how I'm going with it, is I'm not, you're can dress how you want. Of course, it's going to be a lot of business and entrepreneurial women, but there'll be some that are not there, and women in transition. Quite a few of them will be there at this event. So a lot of different diversity in the event, and to dress that you're comfortable with, whatever you're comfortable with. I always say, but be prepared. I will probably be in some sparkle, right? I'm going to be dressed, right?
You and me
So I let
both.
people know that. I let them know I'm going to be dressed, But I say to them, I want you to feel like you're in my living room today. This is the living room.
Yeah.
This is going to be a cozy living room that you're going to feel comfortable and relaxed. And, and there's a
It's
great
not
little,
a fashion show. It is, you want comfort.
I may be a little fit. No,
All right, for maybe you and I, it's a fashion show, but whatever. We do that anyways.
but that's who we are anyway. I'm
That's
comfortable
true.
in that,
Yeah,
I'm
me
comfortable
too.
getting dressed.
Yeah.
So, that's what I kind of say to people.
Why
I
do
want
you
it
do
to be.
this?
Why do I do
Why
the
do you
event?
do this? Yeah.
I really love doing events. All right. So that's part of it. I do love putting these events together. And I think you kind of guided me a little in that. Like, what's the part you love the most? I love putting it together and putting powerful people for them to have the next connection to where they want to be. So obviously, the coaches and people who speak will get clients, so that helps me because I like building businesses, and it doesn't have to be my own. I like helping people build their own business. And at the point that I am in my career, I love that. I love meeting new people. I love learning. I'm always a constant learner. And I like to see it come to fruition, and it's a success. I don't, again, in my thing, I like group coaching and the dynamics of that. So don't do one-on-one, but I do love putting because it's, I love the themes, the idea behind it, and the impact it makes. And I think it does. Women that have went to one last year are like, I can't wait for this year.
Yeah, I hear that too. I got a lot of comments. All the information is with this episode, so you can look below the episode. Or how can someone get right now? How can they get their tickets? They should get them in advance because you do sell out.
Yes, do sell out, and we only do the VIP swags, for so many, and then once they're gone, they're gone. So we do, and it's a busy time of year. We recognize that, having it so close in January, but
Makes a good gift. I'm just saying.
it's a good gift, and it just flows. Trust me, it happens.
Yeah, it's so good. How can they get it? They can go where?
Just go right to the website, Amaezing Midlife and Beyond. And amazing is spelled with my name, MAE. So it's AMAE's Amaezing Midlife and Beyond. And also I'm on LinkedIn under my name, Mae Caime. So if they're a LinkedIn person, they'll see it.
And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us at healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com, and we will give you the links if you don't find the links below. So I'm so grateful to have you on, and so grateful to spend this time with you, Mae, and have you really speak to our listeners who are just should be so amazingly, pun intended, enamored with you, my beautiful Mae. Any last thoughts before we go?
No, I'm just so thrilled, Lori, and thank you so much for having me on again and for allowing, as you had empowered me now to share more about this event. But my heartfelt thanks, and I wish you a very healthy and happy Christmas and Hanukkah and New Year. And we'll be seeing each other soon.
We absolutely will.
And
Thank
to
you
all the listeners, stay healthy and drink plenty of fluids.
There you go.
The holidays,
There you go.
stay healthy because this is the time.
That's our May with always giving us action items. I love you. And thank you all for joining us today on Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I hope we earn the privilege of your time. Again, I want to thank our guest today, Mae Caime. She is a dynamo. Love you so much. Look for our next show next Saturday, 3 p.m. on JVC Broadcasting and iHeartRadio. And we can also be found on all major platforms. And we would be so grateful if you please like, follow, share, and subscribe. Until next time, I am Coach Lorianne, America's #1 Take Action Success Coach and Strategist. Let your dreams be bigger than your fears and let your life be filled with joy. Have a great week. Happy holidays to you all. Please make it safe. And please, let's set up for a prosperous new year. Be well. See you next time.